Hi, I'm Katie Jackson. I'll be singing If I Loved You from Carousel, and then I'll be performing the sides from the female understudy track.
If I loved you, words wouldn't come in an easy way. Round in circles I'd go, longing to tell you, but afraid and shy. I'd let my golden chances pass me by. Soon you'd leave me, off you would go in the mist of day, never, never to know.
Scrooge took his melancholy dinner in his usual melancholy tavern, and having read all the newspapers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book, he went home to bed.
He lived in chambers which had once belonged to his deceased partner, Jacob Marley, a gloomy suite of rooms in a lowering pile of buildings up a yard.
So far back it was, where it had so little business to be, that one could scarcely help fancying it had run there when it was a young house, playing at hide-and-seek with other houses, and forgotten the way out again.
It was old enough now and dreary enough, for nobody lived in it but Scrooge. The yard was so dark that Scrooge was fain to grope with his hands.
Scrooge was not a man to be frightened by shadows.
Though as he climbed the stairs he thought, for an instant, that he saw a hearse ahead of him in the gloom.
Half a dozen gas lamps out of the street wouldn't have lighted his way too well, so you may suppose that it was plenty dark with Scrooge's candle. But on he went, not caring a button for that. Darkness is cheap, and Scrooge liked it.
Come in, you out there. Come into the parlor. You were made free of it long ago, you know.
Let the charwoman alone to be the first.
Let the laundress alone to be the second. Let the undertaker's man alone to be the third. Look here, old Joe. We haven't all three met here without meaning it. Well, we're all well matched, eh?
Aye, every person has a right to look after themselves, eh, Mrs. Dilber?
That's true indeed.
He always did.
No man more so. Who's the worse for the loss of a few things like these? Not a dead man, I suppose. If he wanted to keep him after he's dead, he ought to have been natural in his lifetime.
It's the truest word that ever was spoke. It's a judgment on him. And now undo my bundle, Joe.
What do you call this? Bed curtains?
Aye, bed curtains.
You took them down, rings and all, them lying there?
Why not?
You were born to make your fortune, and you'll certainly do it. And his blankets?
Well, he ain't likely to catch cold without him, I dare say.
He didn't have anything to catch him, did he?
Don't you be afraid of that. I ain't so fond of his company that I'd loiter about him for such things if he did.
My darling, that's worth 5 crowns any day. And a farthing for enterprise.
This is the end of it, you see. Frightened everyone away from him when he was alive, to profit us. It was cold, bleak, biting weather on this Christmas Eve. The city clocks had only just gone 3, but it was quite dark already, and candles were flaring in the windows of the neighbouring offices. The fog poured in at every chink and keyhole, and was so dense without that the houses opposite were merely phantoms. Thank you for your time.